The children of narcissists have a very different view of narcissism than anyone else, because the children see the narcissist in all sorts of different social settings. The narcissist at home, like they see the narcissist in the wild, because the narcissist doesn't really have to mask for their children. And so it's actually the children of narcissists that can potentially understand narcissism better than anybody else. And so, you know, what we really come to understand with pathological narcissist is how sad it is. Once we work through the anger, and there's a titanic amount of anger. My dad has a 10-year restraining order on me because a secret son popped up. And instead of talking to me about this other sibling that I have, he decided to like whip out some angry text messages, you know, and use his wealth to get a restraining order. But once the anger's gone, it's sad. You know, I've seen my dad wanting to help and just falling on his face, like wanting to be a good dad, but not being able to see outside his own version of the problem, right? Which is always, you cost me money. And so it's just everything with a narcissist is transactional. And that's the saddest thing ever for the child, because normal parents get like emotional pride and joy out of having a child, not a narcissist. The transaction to their children is a transaction that they view as always losing, because they got to clothe the kid, they got to feed the kid, they got to spend time with the kid, and the kid doesn't give them anything in return but shame, right? And so being raised by a pathological narcissist is one of the most psychologically perilous experiences a human being can have. The psychological abuse is nonstop. It's always. Right? A parent that can't see their child as an autonomous human being, that can't recognize the child has needs outside of their own needs, that can't recognize the child has their own thoughts and emotions, it's every moment of that child's life, their authentic self is being invalidated. And so if we were like drawing a comparison to physical abuse, it would be a child emerging from their family life in a full body cast and paralyzed. A narcissistic parent essentially breaks the children's legs and then forces them to run a marathon and screams at them the whole time that they're not running fast enough. They can't teach their children anything. Teaching requires empathy. They condition their children, and it's all shame. It's all shadow. The child's authentic self, the entirety of it goes into the child's shadow, because shame is a fear of disconnection. A narcissist can't connect to their parents, and so the contortions that the child will do to try to connect to the unconnectable will have their entire authentic self pushed into their shadow. And the amount of psychological work we have to do to construct a sense of self, to construct the ability to have boundaries, right? Because that's another thing a narcissistic parent does, is condition the child for future narcissistic relationships. Where since we can't set boundaries and leave our parents, we're conditioned to accept abuse and chase our abusers. And we repeat that pattern over and over and over once we go out into the world, until we actually recognize it and do the work to heal it. But this is a lifetime of trauma, a lifetime of healing. There is no end to it.